Okay, so welcome everybody to today's webinar. For anybody that doesn't know me, I'm Megan Twentyman, BDM of Unified Communications. The purpose of today's webinar is to have a look at version 20 update 6, and this is the update we have been anticipating and waiting for, where we get to look at the new reporting landscape. We will try and keep this to the bite-sized format. There is a Q&A option available, so you can ask questions as we go along. And as you saw, I've got Akhila on the line with me this morning as well, who's our UC sales engineer.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining today's webinar.
Awesome. So we'll hear from Akhila shortly. And I just need to dine out on the fact that I get to be 30 all year. So this is one of my standing jokes, is that I get to be 30 because we're pretty excited that Blue Chip is 30 years old this year. So what's on the agenda for today? We're looking at update 6 alpha and beta along with the CDR and what's changed. Now we're going to look at those in the order they came out because they're almost like two massive updates, even though it's all going into the one update 6. So we just need to look at those details around that as well. Then we're going to wrap up with what I call the housekeeping, which is for those that have still got some customers on version 18, what's happening with the end of life. There's been some alterations to the partner targets, how you can keep up to date with everything that's happening. And then we will, of course, wrap up with that Q&A at the end as well. We do really appreciate your time joining us for these webinars. So what's the timeline of version 20 update 6? The alpha dropped on the 31st of March. It was actually the 1st of April. It was not April Fool's Day for us here in New Zealand. And then the beta came out just a short time ago on the 17th of April. So what is update 6? Update 6 has some other tweaks, but we are really focusing today on the reporting because this is what we've all been waiting for. So the alpha, so the first release, was focused on the rewritten CDR tables and 4 key new, what we would call standard reports. So that was the inbound call report, an outbound call report, a user activity report, and the call distribution report. And in the alpha and beta on the reports page, you can see they've got nice little new next to them, and I've highlighted this. Now, we do not run our production system on alphas or betas, and that is just purely because it's not designed for that purpose. But what I am going to do is I'm going to hand over to Akhila. So I'm going to stop presenting so that she can present her screen. And she's going to walk us through our dummy system. Now, we don't put that many calls through our dummy system, but it's a way to be able to see the reporting, see what's involved in these new reports, and see what we can actually see there. So over to you, Akhila.
Thank you, Megan. Sorry, give me one sec, Megan. I won't be long. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we've got your dashboard.
Okay. I'll share my screen again. Maybe I may need to share the entire screen. Yep. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we've got you with the reports now. So just a reminder for everybody, Akhila is just using our dummy system to show this this morning. So there's not a lot of data, but we have managed to throw some in the last couple of days. So over to you, Akhila.
Thank you, Megan. Thanks. Picking up from here, as we all know, 3CX AI reporting already covers call logs, extension statistics, ring groups, and queue answered calls by waiting time. Now with update 6 alpha, we have inbound and outbound reports included under the summary. So when you open the inbound calls section, you'll see all the incoming calls, and you can either view all the calls together or filter them by a specific trunk. You could choose the filter option, the funnel icon, which you can see up here, and you can search and save or schedule the reportings. Under the inbound calls, you can see from info and to info, the trunks, the tick number, status, if the call has been answered or not answered, or if the call is busy, the ringing time, talking time, and total duration, and some of the other settings. And there is also an option to export the CSV file from the top right hand side. If you want to filter all the options, and if you want to only export certain calls which has been answered or unanswered, then you can always filter using this funnel icon. You could select the range of the dates from the drop down list here, and under the trunks you could choose either multiple trunks. If you want to export the CSV file, for example, if you want to export the CSV file for 3 or 4 trunks, you could select the option from here, 2 or 3 trunks. And call status, you could select all calls or only answered or unanswered. And if you search with this option, you can see all the unanswered calls showing up under the inbound calls reporting. And if you want to schedule the reportings to be directed to your email IDs, then you can also choose if you want to get the reportings for monthly, weekly, or daily, and choose the email ID whichever you would prefer to. And once you click OK, then you will start receiving the emails based on the status which you have been scheduled under the reporting options. And in the same way, we also have the outbound calls. So under the outbound calls, um, similar like the inbound calls, under the outbound calls, we also have the range, trunks, and call status. So you could select the range of the days to which you want to export the CSV file. And yeah, the trunks, you can choose the multiple trunks from here. And call status, similar, answered or only unanswered. In the same way as an inbound calls, there is an option for the outbound calls to schedule the reportings to be directed to your email address. It could be either monthly, weekly, or daily. And if you want to export the file after the filter, you can also choose the option on the top right hand side. And that's it with the summary and statements. So we have inbound and outbound calls been added to the update 6 alpha. And now when coming to the extension statistics, Um, so we have new user activity and call distribution options, which has been added under extension statistics. So uh, if you choose user activity status, then you can see all the answered calls, number of answered calls and number of unanswered calls, and the date and time. And if you want to filter and see only certain range of the days, you could select the option from drop down list with the range field. And the time scale, if you want to see the reports of an extensions hour by hour or day by day or week by week. And you could select the users or departments, whatever you choose to export or filter the reporting options. And you could exclude calls dropped before, for example, let's say 10 seconds. If you don't want to see the calls dropped before 10 seconds, then you could select the number of seconds you would prefer. And under call direction, all internal, we have all internal and external options. Select based on the criteria which you want to export the reportings for. And under include, we have queue calls. Select this option if you want to export the CSV file that also has the user extensions with that also has the user extensions under the queue calls. And once you search, you will see all the detailed statistics of the selected extensions, including the queue call reportings. And if you want to schedule the reporting the same way as inbound and outbound calls, you can choose the name, your preferred name, and you can select the option either if you want to download it monthly, weekly, or daily. And similar to user activity, we also have call distribution, which has been focused on showing the total number of incoming and outgoing calls. And you can see a clear overview of the call traffic which has been happening between the extensions or between the incoming and outgoing calls. And using this funnel icon, you can choose certain days, either today, or you can choose last 7 days reporting if you want to export it. And under the time scale, similar like the user activity, you can choose hour by hour, day by day, week, or month. And select any. If you select any, then you can export all the whole CSV file, the whole history of the call distributions happening between incoming and outgoing calls. And if you want to choose certain users, you can choose certain users. And same with the departments, you can choose multiple departments if you want to export the CSV file, or if you want to view the statistic report of multiple departments at a time. And exclude calls dropped before call direction. You can choose all or only internal or external calls, and include queue calls. So if you want to see queue calls under the departments or the extensions, select the queue calls option from here. If you search, then it will show all the statistic summary report of the filtered options from this range. And similar way, of like other fields, uh, you can also schedule the reportings to be directed to your email address. Just choose the preferred name, whatever you would prefer, and you can choose monthly, weekly, or daily. And if you want to see the detailed summary report by only by yourself under your extension, under your owner privileges, then you can choose save to my reports only with no schedules. And once you click OK, and then once you go back onto the main reporting page, you can see an option here, My Reports. So once you click on My Reports, this is where you can see the live report which you just have been downloaded. Just to by not by scheduling the reports to be directed to your email, it will show all the reports under here. So once you click on the click to check report, then it will start showing up all the whole report of incoming or outgoing or call distribution. So yeah, so that's it with the so these are the four reporting options which has been added under 3CX update 6 alpha. And so now I'll hand over this session back to Megan to continue with the latest updates of the another updates of update 6 alpha and update 6 beta.
Awesome. Thanks, Akhila.
Thank you, Megan.
So let's just share my screen again. Get the right slide. Here we go. Okay, so as you saw with the 4 new reports, they're much more granular. They're allowing you to be able to select and narrow down that data. As Akhila said, you can schedule those reports, or you can just pull them anytime you want to pull them. Some of the call distribution data can be very handy if you've got customers that you think might be getting close to their simultaneous call count, bringing it down to hour by hour, you start to see some patterns. So that can be really useful as well. So coming to the CDR, or the call data record, this has been a massive upgrade, and this is what 3CX chose to delay the reporting on and rework the CDR. So the CDR has all been streamlined into one single table, which is the CDR output. The old system relied on very complex SQL joins to piece together all the data for a call record, and that was split across 4 different tables. We often had people say, I ran this report and got this data, and I ran that report and got this data, and we're like, okay, they don't kind of marry up. So taking this back and reworking it, which has been a massive piece of work by 3CX, is now what is going to deliver the better reporting that we've been waiting with anticipation for. So this new lean architecture, just one table with all the data, further strengthens the ability to scale. It takes away a lot of that complexity. It means that the queries will be much faster, and it's really ready for that cloud ready analytics. So, with those timestamps and participants and the routing, everything's just in one place, and it's eliminating those joins. There's only one thing that join is still required for, which is the recording data, which is now in its own table. And you'll see why in a minute when we look at update 6 beta, which is the Grafana exciting stuff that's happening. But moving on to the CDR, what are the key wins from doing this? So with having all your data in one smart table, it is cloud ready, it's happy analysts all the way, easy to follow those call flows, and actually have analytics that you can then hold staff accountable, make better experience for your customers, because customer experience is so important, and work through that. Every row of data tells a story. You used to wonder, why did that call fail? Or what happened? How do I figure out what happened? Now we have total clarity. Every row every row of data takes you from the beginning of the call right through, and you can see where that call went. This helps you with your metrics, being able to check your drop rates, your Q stats. Does somebody need more training? What's the experience that your customer is having? You can see why, when, how, did 5 people suddenly go to lunch at the same time and then your metrics blew out, those types of things. So really important for those with call queues and that type of thing as well. Being able to see how a call started, moved, and then ended is really valuable data. So being able to see who's calling who has been made much simpler by this. So they've also aligned those participant roles, which were quite poorly defined previously. Now with that easy and precision mapping, you can see where that call direction is going, and complex scenarios actually just happen seamlessly and are handled by the system with lots of flows, bi-directional trunks, multi-layered transfers. It's all there in that single field of data or table of data. So we touched on the granular levels. This also brings the sharp metrics. It allows you to grab precise ring to answer times. So if you have a recorded message that plays saying this call is going to be recorded, blah, 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 and you know that it takes 8 seconds, by eliminating that 8 seconds, you can really see how quickly calls are picked up and that type of thing. So you start to really be able to drill down on how your customers experience it. So it's also been built for growth. We know that 3CX changes rapidly. They're always looking to the growth and what's there for their customers. And this has been built to adapt so they can add fields to that one singular table and then develop more reports around that. So a massive amount of work has come to fruition and faster than what was anticipated as well. So, massive kudos to 3CX for delivering what we've all been waiting for. Their next steps are really focusing on that cloud data ready phase, and that's where we come to update 6 beta. You saw there was kind of a 3-week time frame between the alpha and the beta, and I mentioned at the beginning it's like 2 massive updates in one. So this is where we much anticipated enter Grafana, and obviously you can do some Power BI stuff in that as well. Being able to leverage Grafana for all kinds of reporting. Most people are visual. They like to see stats and work out what they look like. This data is actually stored separately from your instance. And that's when I talked about that other table for your recording data and that kind of stuff as well. So with this, you can actually export your data and sync it with Google BigQuery. And please note, this is for Pro 8 simultaneous call and higher licenses only. So there's no add-ons. A lot of people already own Grafana and use it. It's also a free one that you can try out. So you're able to store your call logs for reporting by syncing them with that Google BigQuery or AWS's SQL equivalent. That also means you can purge or export and then purge the data, which means that your backups and restores will be a lot faster as well on your system. So it's going to make your system leaner as well. So by connecting your 3CX system to an external data source, you then can link to Grafana for custom reports and dashboards. Now, in the blog, and I encourage you to go and read the blog about this if you haven't done so already, there are a whole lot of links, including some custom reports for Grafana that have already been designed by 3CX, but you can also make your own. This is the point. You know what metrics are important to your businesses or your customers' businesses, as the case may be, and you can create those reports. You can actually make a package effectively for your customers and work with them. Those templates are available for download within the blog. The guides for the Google BigQuery and the AWS SQL queries are available within that blog as well. So you can search those on the 3CX website, but if you go straight to the blog, all the links are there to work your way through. So these are a couple of what they would call the 3CX created reports. So there's a dashboard overview and there's a queue call overview, etc. But you can use theirs, you can edit theirs, or you can create your own. So being able to start to really get these data analytics is going to help customers that deal with a large volume of calls, a large volume of staff that they're trying to manage and that type of stuff. It gives them some real world ability to make the customer experience better. It is all about that customer experience. So 3CX have worked really hard, and they have now delivered this in beta. Obviously, there's still that final testing before it goes into production, but it's exciting that we are seeing the first real look at this data. So now to the housekeeping part of the webinar. For those that still have some customers that have not migrated from version 18 to version 20, we know earlier in the year when they released update 9B for version 18, they extended that SSL cert through to the 31st of August. They have also now just extended the Android and iOS push through to the end of August, but time is ticking. We're at the end of April. We do need to get these people migrated over to version 20. All the reminders about setting your system owners, all those types of things. Version 18 is officially end of life. There is no technical support for version 18. So it is just a matter of timing. We know there are reasons that people have held back with certain customers and that type of thing. But now that the reporting is starting to come to fruition, that's going to help to move some of those projects along as well. The other thing that was emailed out quite early in March, but a lot of people seem to have missed it, is that with the 4 simultaneous call licenses no longer counting towards partner revenue targets, 3CX did lower the targets for 2025. So silver targets went from 5 down to 4, gold went from 25 down to 20, and so on. So you can see those new targets are there. You can track that in your partner portal to check you're on track to maintain your partnership or to increase your partnership. We've got some partners that are tracking already to move up a partner level, which is really exciting for them as well. Just a reminder that those partner targets run for the calendar year. So just keeping up to date with us. Technical trainings, we've started rolling those out this year. The May dates have actually sold out, and we will be announcing some August dates very soon. But it is important to get your version 20 certifications. So reach out if you need to be on that waiting list and we can keep you updated. We also have our monthly UC channel update, which, as I'm literally saying there, I've just remembered that it went out and I haven't loaded it up to our LinkedIn group, which I will do straight after this. We have a weekly newsletter which has events and promotions and that kind of stuff. And then we do have that LinkedIn Blue Chip UC community group that you can ask for access to, and we'd welcome you to join in there. So thank you so much. Once again, we appreciate your time and we're happy to answer any questions that you may have. I'm just going to flick back from my presentation mode through to our web meeting. Okay. Yes, you do need a paid Google Workspace account. This is not all free data, just like you need a Grafana license to use that. But this is allowing people to take that data, manipulate that data. It's also something that as partners, you can think about packages. So I've talked to a number of partners that are already thinking about this, which is that they are going to, I guess, do the work on behalf of their customers, but it's going to be an additional service. So whether they build that into their services contract or what they do, and they might have some like standard reports that they create and go, this is XYZ company in New Zealand's 3CX reporting package, and then they might go, and this is the other ones. So yes, there is additional charges in terms of those technologies, but a lot of customers are already using those technologies. Most companies either have a Power BI or a Grafana type licensing. We use Power BI ourselves. And this is that next step in the reporting process. If people want to really analyze those data, then the data analytic products are the ones that are the best for that. I'm happy to have any other questions that roll in and we will try to answer those. But if you think about them afterwards, you can always just flick us an email or give us a call. So uc@bluechipit.co.nz. Just a note that I personally am going to be offline for the next few days and I'll be back next week. But Akhila will be manning the emails and checking that everything's under control in my absence. So Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any other questions. I'm sure many of you have already read the blog. You probably need to go back and look at some more of that detail. Happy to answer anything that you would like help with. But thank you once again for joining us today. We really do appreciate it. And until the next webinar, take care, enjoy end of month, and we will talk to you all
Yeah.
soon. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you, guys.